Hello guys, today I'll be explaining recursion on a sum to zero method, and I'll be also making lots of videos on recursions, so you can check my channel afterwards. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I've seen plenty of videos online which explain recursion but not in depth. They're always sticking with the same examples like a Fibonacci sequence and the factorials, etc, etc. So let me switch to this example, and by the way I'll be using Visual Studio and the language C#, and I'll be using Notepad to write down the recursive calls. There won't be a need for any advanced software like Advanced Paint or something like that. And so if you're familiar with the concepts of C, C++, if you know the basics of Java, then you should be able to follow this tutorial. So let's start with the method. Okay, we have a sum to zero method, and the goal of this method is to sum up all the numbers starting from this number over here. So you can write any number you want. You can write, for example, 4. And if you write 4, we want the program to sum up all the numbers which follow 4. So 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1 plus 0. So till you get to 0. So when you get to 0, our method has to stop. So let us write the base case then. If n is equal to 0, then what? Return, actually 0, return n. Okay? So we could have wrote 1 instead of 0, and we will get the same result, but we'll come to this afterwards, okay? So this is the base case. The base case is the most important part of the recursion, because it stops our method from running forever, and we won't get a stack overflow, okay? So not only will we get our method to stop, we'll also get the result, which will combine the previous calls, and we will be able to reproduce the final result following this return over here. Okay, let us proceed now to the recursion. We'll write the else statement, and in the else statement we want to do the recursion. We want to call this method over here. So I'll write out sum to 0, and the argument will be n minus 1. Why? Because we are trying to reach the base case. Not trying, we want to reach the base case. Otherwise, if I put plus over here, then this doesn't make any sense. We'll have a stack overflow, because our method will never stop. It will go by one, by one, by one, and it won't have an end. Okay? So I'll write out minus. So this will lead us towards the base case. This argument will decrease, and eventually it will become 0, and it will return a result. Okay? So sum to 0 n minus 1 plus n. Why plus n? Because we want to add up these numbers. Okay? I'll show you in Notepad how this functions. So just let me put the return keyword over here. And yes, that's it practically. Okay, so let us go through the program. Let's press F11. Okay, if you always have any doubts, if you are not sure how this functions, press F11, go through the program, go through each line, and then you'll have a much more clearer view. Okay, we are in the base case. I've already put number 4 in here. So if n is equal to 0, it's not, it's 4. So proceed to the else statement. Else sum to 0 n minus 1. So I'll just output this recursive call over here. Sum to 0 is now, the argument is 3, because n minus 1 is actually 4 minus 1 is 3, plus n, which was 4, and we wrote it over here. So this is our first recursive call. Okay, when you have a recursive call, the method instantly goes up. Okay, so now you'll see with the F11. Let me switch to C#, yeah. Okay, you see, it moved up. Again, it goes through it checks the base case. Is n equal to 0? It's not. N is equal to 3. You can see over there, right here, n is equal to 3. So it will proceed to the else statement again. Again, we will have a recursive call over here. So let me write it down. Ctrl V. Okay, now n will not be 3, it will be 2 after it reads this line of code. And the n will be 3, okay? Because it was actually 3. F11 again, we go up and we check if it's false, else return sum to 0 and minus 1. Okay, again we have a third recursive call, so to LV, and now we have number 1 and we have here 3. Okay, so this is actually what a computer does. So it creates a heap and it stores the recursive calls. Okay, so n is equal to 1. Again, F11. Again, switch to C#. F11. It goes up again. Is n equal to 0? No, it's 1. Okay, again, do the recursive call. Okay, now we've got this the recursive call and the argument which is 0 inside of it. Okay, you see 0 plus. I'm sorry, I forgot a 2. And here it's 1. Okay, now you get the argument n is equal to 0. Okay, it goes up again. It goes up again. And it checks the first if statement. If n is equal to 0, return n. Okay, it returns what? It returns 0 now. So this actually, sum to 0, will evaluate now. It will be 0. You see this one? So actually, we can put an equal sign over here. This recursive call will evaluate to 0. Now it was a function, now it's an integer, okay? So it's actually 0 plus number 1 and equals to 1, okay? And now this one will go up, okay? You see you have a heap now, and this heap will eventually, it will reproduce a final result which will be over here, okay? Now this one goes to this recursive call. Sum to 0, 1 is actually equal to 1, okay? So we've got what? 1 plus 2, which is equal to 3. Okay, now we've got sum to 0, 2, which actually is equal to 3. You see? This recursive call actually is this over here. And it gave us a result of 3. Okay, so we'll write 3. Plus 3. This is why we added this n over here. So we can create a final result. So we can add all these numbers till 0. Okay, and 3 plus 3 is equal to 6. And finally, sum to 0, 3 is equal to 6 plus 4. 6 plus 4. Okay, and this is equal to 10. So the result should be 10. Let's see. Returning to C#. Okay, now you see it has to remove these recursive calls until it reaches the method itself. Okay, you see if we press F11 to go here, move down. Again here, move down. Again here, move down. So it gets rid of all of these recursive calls, you see. At the end you'll get nothing. You'll only get this method called here and the output with the console.write line. F11, okay, okay, and now you have an output, and let's see, yes, you see number 10 over here. This is our final result. So that's it, that's the first tutorial on the recursion. The next tutorials will be harder and harder, and you'll get a pretty good concept of what a recursion is, and believe me, you'll be able to utilize, to perform recursion on a real programs, on real life situation programs. So see you folks, and subscribe to my channel.